Hello folks, it's JDporkchop and welcome to Kerbal Space Program 1.1. As promised, I'll try to get this one out reasonably quick after the last one, so that we can start working on a satellite, a space station. So, I haven't done anything since the last episode, so I'm actually filming this one kind of straight after. So we are going to just jump straight into mission control. And where did it, is that it? Build a new orbital station. Yeah. On a solar orbit. Yes, that's what we want. Okay. No, that's what we want. Okay. So, I'm going to take this mission, and with this, we will basically pay for the space station. So it's not coming out of our own funds. If anything, we might be able to do it a bit cheaper than, what, 240 odd thousand. So 230,000. So yeah, put your station in orbit of Kerbal. Build a station that has an antenna, a docking port, and can generate power. Facilities for at least 7 Kerbals. That's a little bit more than I intended on doing, but it should be okay. We'll just stick one of those the big round tin things. 400 units of fuel. Well, it's going to be a refueling station, so that's fine. Have a viewing cupola. Is that how they say that? Cupola on the station. I think that's. I think I know what that is. Maintain stability for 10 seconds. So I think this is the perfect contract to take. So we're going to grab that. Any others of these that are good to take? Build a new orbital station on a solar orbit. I think you have to put that in a very. Oh no, not on a solar, as in orbit of the sun. Oh wow, that's a really crazy one. Although, look at the amount of money you get for doing it. Anyway, we might just do that, but it'll be we have 2 pilots on the. See, I was about to say send it up with a what do you call it? Electronically with a probe thing. Build a new surface outpost on Minmus. That is something for the future, but not for right now. So that's perfect. Let's come out of there, and we will go and start working on our space station. Now, it's not going to be very big, the first one, because I haven't unlocked all the bits that I want. Now, is that the... Yeah, that's it. So we're going to start with that, because that's a requirement that we have that. And then underneath it, so we can get... It has to be able to hold 7. So that holds 1. Now, how much does that the crew pod thing hold? Is it in here? There it is. 4. Wow, so we need to fit 2 of these to it. That's way bigger than I was intending. I wonder if we dock a space station, because that's 4 and 1. Was that 4? Yeah. Where is it? There it is. 4 and 1. So that's 5. I wonder if we dock, because at some point we're going to have to dock a spaceship with it. I wonder if that'll count. Like, once it's docked, they become one whole unit. So I think what I'll do is I'll leave it like this. And then when we dock a ship to it, it should complete the contract. I hope. Right, next. So, I want to put a small... This is going to be a small station. This is not going to be the big, like, finished one that we'll have, when we start doing interplanetary stuff. This is basically just for the now to have somewhere. So we can stick that there. So we've got a small fuel canister, so we can do refueling. We might attach some more fuel canisters to it in the future. But for right now, that'll do. So on the underside, well, first off, let's put some docking ports on the side, and then we can attach some stuff to it. That'll do, that'll do. Okie dokie. We're going to have to obviously take this this thing up in parts. It's not going to go up all in one. Now, what else do I want to attach to this? This has to have a docking port on it. So, which button is it to? Fine, will that do? That'll do. It's not perfect, but it'll do. Right, next. We'll put another one on the bottom. There we go. It's not, doesn't seem to want to do its thing. Like snap on, you know. I haven't got it back to front, have I? I have. That's exactly what the problem is. There we go. No. It's a bit weird. I'm sure if you press control it sort of snaps things to the... It doesn't seem to want to. Oh, it is. No, it's Alt. But it does it upside down. Oh well. I'll just have to sort of do it by eye. So, there? Yeah, that'll do. So that's the basic top part. Now, we are going to need a lot of bits and bobs attached to this, so let's get started. First off, let's get a couple of these. So we're going to need power, and then my plan eventually is on these two ports here attach some what are they called? Metal gantry things with the extendable these. Or I could just, I mean, if we just wanted to keep this non-complicated, I could just do that. Because this isn't going to need a huge amount of power. Yeah, let's just do that. Okay. We'll also put a fuel cell on it for emergencies. That obviously uses fuel, so we don't want to be using that if we can help it. But it's good as oh poop, we need electricity quick backup. I'm going to put some lights on the docking port to help see it. There we go. And what else? Which I want to turn, just bend this back a little bit. And we'll also need, right, let's just start at the bottom here. We're going to need a antenna. So we're going to stick that there and move that down. Go. I might stick one of these ones on it as well, just as a added. So what we'll do it like that. One either side. Cool. Don't really need any science experiments because we can't really gather any science from where we're going. We're just going to be in orbit of Kerbal, and we already have all the science. I'm not entirely sure what these do, but I feel inclined that I should probably put one on because I don't know what they do. I mean, obviously it's a radiator. It's supposed to bleed off heat. You know, the International Space Station has them fitted for, you know, all the amount of electrical equipment that they have makes a huge amount of heat, and so they bleed it all off into outer space because obviously outer space is quite cold. So I feel we'll fit them, but I don't know if we actually need them. I'm going to fit some emergency handholds. There we go. Just in case we're doing any. Better put some down here as well. Go. And what's that? What size is that? Take that off and stick it in there. A couple of them. That work? It's a little bit squiffy, but it'll work. There we go. And should we add some extra ones on the side? Got anywhere left to put them? So digging into the here, that's not good there. Look. If I drop that, no, I don't want to move that down because put there. Does that look okay? That looks fine. There we go. Right, we've got plenty of stuff fitted now. Let's just turn that to 4 and some extra panels. Do we really need these though? We don't really need these. We have those big ones there, which are fine, and then we have these big extendable ones. We don't really need any more power, don't need any more batteries, don't need any of this. Hopefully we don't need a parachute. Okay, do we need any of this? Nope. Do we need any of this? Nope. Now there's a question. Do we need... I'm gonna fit this just so that it will help if when we're doing docking and you want it to sit still. It might be handy to have that. So I'm gonna fit that. Obviously don't need any of those. This I do want to fit because we are a refueling station, so if you haven't got any monopropellant to refuel to your customers, I guess would be the people docking, then that's not much use, is it? I know this isn't a lot of fuel, and at some point we'll probably have another fuel connected to this, but for now this will do. Let's have a look. What else? Do we need any of this stuff? No, not really. Okie dokie. Well, I think that is the start of a very simple beginning to our space station. Like I said, I think this is just going to be a temporary one. One of the things I want to unlock, which I don't really have right now, is... oh, better save that. I'll just quickly show you. It's the docking port, but it's a large one. It's over here somewhere. Yeah, this. I want that, and then when I have that unlocked, which I suppose, I mean, it wouldn't be too difficult to get. When I have that unlocked, I'm going to build a much larger station, because I have that as well, which is quite handy, and it just makes building stations better with that, because with the little docking port, there's a lot of wobble. And the way I used to fix that, the lot of wobble, was a mod called KAS, Kerbal Attachment Systems. I used to just fit struts in between, but obviously I don't have that mod fitted, so I have to kind of work around it. But that's it, our International Kerbal Space Station. No, I'm not going to call it that. I'm going to call it SkyLab 2. SkyLab, one word or two? Put it as 2. Cool. SkyLab 2. SkyLab 1 was one of the very first space stations ever put up by the Americans. That and what was the name of the Russian one that was up for? Again, my name. Can't remember. Somebody will be able to tell me in the comments section. What was the name of the Russian space station that was up there for like 30 years, and it actually came crashing down a wee while ago. So I'm going to do what I usually do. I'm going to build the rest of this off camera, and then we will get to a launch pad. So I'll see you in a second, guys. Okay, so I have finished building all the bits on. So just so you know, I ripped this off the XX1, and I'll show you how you do that. If you go hit that arrow at the top and then go into sub-assemblies, and pull off like the whole section that you want to transfer to another ship, and then drop it into there, click in there, you'll create yourself a sub-assembly, and then there you go. It literally just saves it as a part, and you can pull it out as often as you want. So it's kind of handy if you just want to build the top bit, and then you build yourself the sub-assembly that you just use for every rocket, and you can just pull it out whenever you need it. So yeah, that's that done. I also thought about ripping all the what do you call them, solar panels off and putting them on the side, like actually sticking out the side in a square shape to make it look like the actual SkyLab, but I couldn't be bothered. This is the simple answer to that. So what are we going to do next? The last little thing that we need to do is, when we disattach this bit, this will then become dead, and will have to be will just float in space, and I don't want debris floating near the space station. So what I'm going to do is something a little bit odd. Is I'm going to stick a what do you call it? Where is it? I'm going to stick that on the side of it. So the way you do that is, if I can find the thing, there we go, one of these, stick that on the side, then go into this and this, and how do we, there we go. So this is now going to take over this part once it disconnects. The only thing I need to add is a aerial, which are down here, yes. So stick an aerial on it. And it will need also some power, so I'll stick a battery on the other side. Where are batteries? They're the cog, aren't they? Yes. Cool. Sorted. So, we'll be able to basically turn this bit away and move it away from the space station. I'll show you what I mean when we launch, but or when we get up into orbit, should I say. But yeah. Okay, so just a final check. I think this is all okay. I've double checked this. Oh, one last thing I want to do is, no, I already did that. Just change the pilot over, make sure that that was okay. Cool. So I think we're ready for launch. And I'll do the same thing I usually do. We'll do the launch part so you can see that it was a successful launch, and then I will cut until we're kind of out of the atmosphere, because otherwise it's a bit boring. So throttle to max, SAS on, and away we go. And a little bit quick. So we're up and away. I will be back in a couple of minutes, guys. And we've made it to orbit. It's a little lower than I want it right now, which is not far off. But we've got to do a couple of little bits before we think about straightening it out. So first things first, I still have this and not a lot of fuel left in it. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to click this and then, oops, is it control click? No, it's alt click. Yes. So click on that one and then we'll click on the other one holding alt and transfer fuel out of this one into here. And the reason for that is if I separate this now, it's just going to float in orbit near the space station. Now there's already quite a lot of junk up here, but none of it's really particularly close, and you'd be able to see it. But this, obviously, if I dump this now, it's going to be right next to this. So if I take all the fuel out of this, and then move this separation up above, when we separate, we'll separate here, and this whole section will come down with us. The other thing I'm going to do is just set that aerial out, just in case I forget. And I'll probably do... actually, we won't do any of that yet. We'll wait till we're actually in the final position. So I think for our final position, I want it at about, I think about 110 maybe? So that's almost at the right height. Just needs to come down a little bit. And that needs to go up a little bit. The reason I want it a little higher than kind of 70,000-80,000, where this currently is, 78. That's an empty ship now. There's nothing in there. We rescued that guy in the last episode. But is that for the exact same reason I discussed in the last episode, is if I want to catch up to this, I need to drop down below it. And if its orbit is too low, if I drop down too low, I'll skip back into the atmosphere. So I want it high enough up so that if I'm trying to catch it up, I can drop down to kind of 70,000-80,000 meters and have, you know, space to catch it up. So I think 110 is a good round number, and it's also a little bit above the normal space that I am in when I'm doing orbits. I normally orbit about 100,000. So it means that it sort of has its own little bit of space. So I think what we'll do is we're going to drop down this side first. We're not in the perfect position, but it'll be okay. Done. Probably went a little bit too far. No, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Cool. So now what we're going to do is, like I said, separate this. So we're going to decouple here, and that is our space station already. And once this is far enough away, I'm going to twist it up onto its pole. There we go. Perfect. Look at that. One space station. One very simple space station, but still a space station nonetheless. And then we can switch over to this and take control. And all we're going to do is basically just deorbit it so that we can dump it back into the atmosphere. Is this working? Yep. It's just very slow because this is the cheapest one. This is the least powerful one. So let's just slowly move away. Don't want to hit the. There we go. And now that we're far enough away, we can start looking for the. Where is it? Wow, this thing really doesn't want to turn. Yeah, other way. Other way! Turn, you stupid thing. If you do it with a little bit of acceleration, it'll turn it a little quicker. But under no acceleration, the thing just doesn't want to move. Alright, there we go. Perfect. So we'll just yeah, that's it. Sorted. And now there's no danger of that kind of bumping into anything. It's out of the way. And there's the space station's already 4 kilometers away. So this will now go back into the atmosphere and burn up, or crash into the surface, one or the other. We can switch back over to SkyLab. Nope, can't. So go space station. Okay guys, I am going to now go and take the XX1 and do some editing to it, and we're going to launch it. So I will be back in just a second. Okay, so I think I'll just show you the editing on thing, just so you know what I'm doing. I'm basically just going to rip all the bits off that we don't need. Because a lot of this is for landing on planets. And we're obviously, I might leave those on actually. We're not going to be using this for landing on planets. I'm also going to move these lights from pointing that way to pointing this way. If I press the right button. Which isn't that button. That's not that one either. There we go. Alright, so I can use these to help me get landed on the get docked. So obviously we're going to have to fit that in there. Take these battery packs off. Shouldn't need those. Actually we might, so I might put them back on actually. I'm going to put them down a little lower and then fit parachutes. Which ones is it? That's the drag one, so these. Cool. And there's still 2 there as well, so we've got more than enough. Actually, I might just take those ones off. We'll just need these 2. Perfect. Might tilt those lights a little bit. Let's just have a little play around with this. No, wrong button. There we go. So now we're going to be able to use those so we can see our docking port if we're on the dark side of the planet. We've got plenty of power. Still got that there. Now the next major thing, or the last major thing we need to sort is adding some. Actually, I'm not going to add the big tank. I'll just add the little side tanks. We're going to add some monopropellant. For we are going to need this for doing the maneuvering. So we go into here and we'll add 4 up here. And spec down 2, move them up a little bit. And 4 down here. Perfect. And that is going to basically help for doing the docking. You need monopropellant. If you're ever going to do any kind of docking, you need monopropellant. You can't do it without it. So that should be fine, I think. Can't think of anything else. Like I said, we don't need science experiments for this because where we're going, there is no science to be had. We've already collected it all. So I think that's fine. I'm going to remove one of the crew. Actually, both crew. We only need one. And that means that whenever we're doing going up to the SkyLab, we can do crew exchanges. So I can take 2 new members of crew up, or I can take 2 down, whatever I want. So I'm going to save this as the XX1A. No, actually, I better make it descriptive, or I'm never going to remember what it is. So it's the XX1 docking. There we go. Perfect. Save. Alright guys, I will meet you on the platform. So we're on the launch pads, all ready to go. The last little thing we need to do is if we just go into map and oh wow, he's already getting here. Okay, so we're going to launch now and try and sort of kind of rendezvous with SkyLab. So I think we really need to go kind of straight away. So up we go. And hopefully, as we sort of get to here, this will have got round to here. So it should make the chasing and getting into a good docking area a lot easier than if it was kind of SkyLab was on the other side of the planet. Okay guys, so I am going to get up until we're sort of close and I will meet you in orbit. I just wanted to very quickly show, that is the thruster rocket that was attached to the back of the SkyLab. By a total fluke, it is going to land almost on top of the Kerbal space program, the Kerbal Space Center, which well, it won't, because as it goes into the atmosphere, it'll drag, so it'll probably land back here somewhere. But that would have been quite interesting if it managed to crash into the the space center, because if it gets damaged, you need to repair it. So that would have definitely been a very stupid moment. Anyway, we are at the moment just heading up to our burn point to get into orbit, and I will join you again in a minute once I've leveled out the orbit. And we're in orbit, and we're 57,000 meters away from our target. Now, I'm pretty pleased with that for a kind of spitball guess, stab in the dark thing. Our next interception will be over here, and we will be 62,000. So we are moving away from one another. So I need to bring my orbit up a little bit so that he will catch me up. So I need to switch this back to orbit. And we just kind of go around here and have a look. That'll hopefully. There we go. So I'm going to keep playing with this a little bit because most of this is going to be very boring. It's very much the fiddly, twitchy thing, and you saw me doing this in the last episode. I'm basically just doing the exact same thing again. Okay, I managed to get it down to 7, and we're just about to hit that interjection now. So I'm going to switch this over to targeting mode, and we are first going to kill our velocity relative to the target. I think would be the best thing to do. How much fuel? We've still got absolute tons of fuel left. There's no way we're worried about fuel. So that's the velocity pretty much killed. Now if we start burning towards the target, we should hopefully start getting closer. So there it is over there, 7 kilometers. I probably could have got closer if I'd tried, but we'll just do it this way now. So I'm going to probably burn to about, I don't know, 30 meters a second. I don't want to go too fast. And just fast forward time a little bit. There we go, we're already down to 3. Now I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to kill the velocity relative to the target and then burn at the target. The reason that I keep killing the velocity and then restarting it again is because we're sort of burning where the lab used to be, if that makes any sense. So if we kept going on this line, we would eventually get to where the lab used to be, but it'll have moved to a different location. So we're now, that's the velocity pretty much dead. We will start burning towards the target. Do our second burn. This one we'll do to about 25-30 again. That'll do. And then we'll fast forward time and hopefully be able to get it pretty close this time. 1.6. 1 point, there we go. So now would be a good time to sort of slow that velocity down. I don't need to kill it completely because we're still actually, if you look, the target reticle and the velocity reticle are really close to one another, so we're still sort of heading in the right direction. Right, there we go. Now it's at this point where you sort of want to start thinking about switching over to RCS. I'm going to just fast forward us a little bit until we get to kind of under 300. Right, there we go. Now, do the same again, kill the velocity. Perfect, and then burn at the target. And you see how the your prograde reticle and your target reticle are almost on top of each other. That means you're basically moving directly towards it, which when you get this close is kind of what you want. When you get to the final docking bit, you actually need them pretty much right on top of one another. Get it to at least a couple of meters a second. There you go, see they're right on top of each other now. We'll come in nice and slow. And right, now we're under 100 meters, or we will be very shortly. Time to switch over to RCS. So I'm going to kill the velocity completely. Perfect. Actually moving away very, very slowly, but that's fine. Perfect. 0. Right, so the next thing to do, really, would be straighten her out, turn on our RCS. Now, I have not used RCS in a long time, so I'm going to have forgotten all the buttons. But yeah, I want to also get that up so I know how much monopropellant I've used up. Now, we need to switch over to the SkyLab, and I'm going to target the docking clamp on the XX1. And then using the target reticle, I'm going to point, say, control from here. I'm going to point my docking clamp at his docking clamp. There we go. So now the docking clamps are pointing at one another. Switch back over to this and do the same here. I'm going to set the docking clamp as target. Set the RCS off for now, don't need it. I had a little panic there and had to pause it and go quickly look at the controls to remember how to stop the stupid spacecraft. Right, so the RCS controls are H and N for forward and backwards, and then IJKL for movement. And I couldn't remember that. I was kind of bundling towards it, going So there is a Kerbal Space Program wiki, and it has all this stuff on it. So we are going to line ourselves up perfectly with that target, and then we are going to very, very slowly move towards it. And at this point, you don't want to use your engine at all. If anything, you should shut it down, turn it off, so you don't hit the button by accident. And very, very slowly, just move her in. That should be perfect. Then what I'm going to do is just, when we get within kind of 10 meters, I'm going to almost sort of stop it. And just reset. When the ship isn't active, it's not going to stick to where you tell it to go. Also, this pilot isn't trained enough anyway, but cool, perfect. And then we switch back over, and we've sort of drifted a little high now because of the movement of the ship. So what we need to do is very quickly just find turn the RCS off, because that's going to muck everything up. Right, we need to find that and kill it. We're drifting. Turn the RCS back on and kill the drift. You can drift back down a bit. The problem with RCS is you have to kind of know when to use it and when to turn it off. Otherwise it just throws stuff completely out. Like there. Right, so we're now kind of drifting back to where we should have been. And turn that off. Point it back at the target. Tell it to stay there. Switch it over. Set that back at the target. Switch over again. And just blast it forward. Well, maybe not blast it, you know what I mean. Alright, let's give this one more try. It doesn't really help that we're on the dark side of the planet as well, which makes, even though we have all the lights and stuff, it makes it quite hard to judge what you're doing. Right. Oh, we might almost be there. Perfect. Slow it down a little bit. Oh, almost. Come on. Why are you not connecting? They are slightly magnetic, so it will sort of suck. There we go. Done. We have docked. Well, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, and considering I haven't done it in a very long time, I'm quite proud of myself. So, there we go. Docked. And hopefully... no, it hasn't. Well, space program... well, we've got that at least, but I was kind of hoping that because these are now docked as one, that we would maybe get this... Oh, I tell you what we need to do. This is why. No, hold on. We need to set this to being a space station. And I can't remember how to do that. I think you do it in the... what do you call it, center? The radar center place. Okay, I've worked it out. I knew how to do it. If you right click on the command module for whatever ship it is, you can go into that and rename vessel, and then you can set it as a space station or whatever, and hopefully that will... No, it still hasn't done it. Maybe me trying to cheat the system. has backfired on me. I'm not entirely sure. Transmit, recover. Must. Oh no, there it is. Have. Ah, it's not got enough fuel. 4,000 units of fuel. So everything else is fine. It just needs a crap ton more fuel connected to it. How many units do we have? 1,000. Wow, that's a lot of fuel. Wow. Okay, well, we can sort that out. So that will be our next thing. I'm going to go and check what the time is, but I am still going to kind of try to squeeze this last little bit in at the end. And if this has to run to kind of 40 minutes, then so be it. Because I kind of want this done so we can move on to the next thing. So yeah, I'm going to go and build, well, this, but with more fuel. And we will be back. This is going to have to get sent back to Earth. So how much fuel do we actually need? Wow, we need a lot. Okay, well, I'll be back in a second, guys. And this is the insanity that I'm going to have to go to get this to work. And the downside of all of this is actually going to cost me more than the contract is going to pay out. So this is what happens if you don't read the small print on contracts. So yeah, I have to send this monstrosity up, and even this isn't enough fuel. This thing will hold just shy of 3,000. I need 4,000. The space station itself probably has, well, I can tell you exactly how much it has. Has 700. So we're still going to be 500 short, but hopefully, obviously, we're a spaceship docked with it. That'll be enough. The other issue I have is I don't think this will get into space. So what I'm going to have to do is bleed fuel out of this into this. So when this gets to the space station, it probably won't be full. Meaning I'm going to have to send another mission up, costing even more money, to basically top this up. So all in all, this is an absolute muck up on my part. But at least we'll have a fueling ship in space. So, you know. So I'm going to launch this. Like I said, I'm going to try and cut this kind of short because we're now going to be running over time. So I will meet you up in space. Okay, with a whole load of mucking around, I finally made it up to where I wanted to be. I'm going to disconnect this, connect this, and then reconnect this. It won't be enough fuel though. We're going to have to do this all over again, which at this point I'm beginning to think that maybe just forgetting all about that contract or leaving it running and trying to get it at another time when we build the bigger station would be a better thing, because well, the amount of fuel that we managed to get up is that not even half of what we need. I don't know how much is in that one, but let's say there's 300 or 400 in there. It's only going to get us to half, and the amount of money now that it has taken me to get to this point, one more launch of this rocket would basically use up all of my money. But I've got this here now, so I'm going to connect it, and then we might just leave this, and maybe when we've made a bit more money, try and finish off this contract. So I'm going to wait. I'll cut away now, and then I'll cut back when I'm getting very close to being in a good point. I need to do a little bit of moving ships around and stuff. So I'll be back in a minute, guys. And we're almost there, folks. Almost. Come on. Bingo! Wow, that was that took a good 20 minutes, and look, it's all lined up and everything. That's pretty good. Yeah, this thing moves like a truck, so I sort of had to kind of line it up about 100 meters out, and then sort of slowly, very slowly drift it in. But it's done. So make sure that's empty. I might as well. Well, I'm going to keep the monopropellant. I don't think I used any out here anyway. No, I didn't. And use the monopropellant to... is that a good idea or is that a bad idea? Do you think I can deorbit with just monopropellant? We'll give it a shot. So I am going to decouple this. And switch over to this ship. No, not this ship. This ship. And I'm going to just move it out of the way for now. I'm not going to deorbit it, so I need to pay attention when I'm deorbiting it, because it's got a pilot in it. But I will move it out of the way. Turn the RCS on, and we will just sort of zoom backwards a bit. There we go. Perfect. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with myself. We've done a good job. So I'm going to switch back over to this, make sure everything here is all good. I like the lighting. I like that. That's pretty cool. Cool. Now we will switch over to the other spaceship, and I will try and. Well, is there any point real? Well, I suppose because of the fuel. How much is in there? There's a good 600 fuel in there, so I suppose we should really, shouldn't we? How are we doing for monopropellant? Plenty. Okay, yeah, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to redock this one, and then we'll wrap it up here. I'm going to have to... The other fuel, I'm going to bring more fuel up in between this episode and next. What I'm going to do is do a couple of missions to generate some money, and then use that money to send up one last. I mean, I almost have enough. I pretty much do have enough. So yeah, actually, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay guys, so I'll tell you what we'll do right now is I'm going to jump back down and we'll sort of wrap this up. But we have a working, very cool space station, and not only that, it has this huge fuel tank, which I didn't account for. I wasn't going to bother with this, and we're going to have to fill this up. So this is going to be a huge jumbo fuel tank full of fuel. I mean, that is going to last us a long time. And what hopefully the long-term benefits of this is, if I can get a lab up here as well, one of the science labs, is we don't have to re-enter the space. I can send a spaceship up here and leave it up here permanently, and it can just go back and forth between here and the moon and Kerbal. And that, the long term of that is the amount of fuel and rocket that it takes to get the ship up into space is huge. So if we don't have to do that, if we can just do every single mission where we're leaving spaceport and heading to the moon, or heading to eventually Juna and stuff like that, then this space station will pay for itself tenfold in the long term. So anyway, guys, I think I think everything else I'm just going to do off camera in between this episode and next. I'm going to redock that, send up more fuel, and hopefully we'll be able to have the next mission that we do kind of launch from this space station. See, this is why I have KMS. Look, you try and move this even the tiniest little bit. You see the wibble? The wobbling? Yeah. The next series that we do with this, I'm definitely doing it modded, because I miss all the mods. Anyway, guys, so this has been maybe not one of the best episodes. It's been a bit kind of disjointed, and I'm stressing over this one massively, but hey, but I hope you've enjoyed it anyway. I hope you've learned something from this as well, because this whole building space station things, the first time I tried it, I think it took me a week just to get like where we are now, instead of the couple of hours it takes me these days. So I hope you've learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have, a like and a subscribe would be really appreciated. It does help the channel, and it helps me out for growing. And if you have any questions or anything, feel free to stick it down in the comments section. So I've been JDporkchop, and this has been Kerbal Space Program 1.1. I'll catch you later on, guys.